Today we're going to be debunking, destroying Vatican I's definition of the papacy. Why Catholics are wrong about St. Peter being the rock and the Pope being infallible. All of that will be discussed in today's video. Aaron Cortez, Orthodox Christian. Let's dive straight into this video.
Fries, what's up?
Yo, what's up, man?
What's on your mind?
Hey, I was just reading. Have you ever read The Roots of Christian Mysticism? It's like an Orthodox commentary on a bunch of the Eastern Orthodox Church Fathers.
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's pretty good. But I was just reading through it, and I got to this one quote by Irenaeus, and if you don't mind, it's really short. It's just,
Sure.
He says, with this Church of Rome, because of its pre-imagent origin, every church must necessarily be in agreement, that is to say, the faithful everywhere, for therein has been preserved for all
That sigh by Jay Dyer, because he's just like, bro, I have debunked this so many times.
time, to the benefit of all the tradition that comes from the apostles.
Yeah,
So,
we've covered
there's
this. We've covered this with Ubi.
Okay.
Yeah, Irenaeus, first of all, did not mean that in the Vatican I sense, because Irenaeus himself corrected and rebuked Pope Victor over the date of Easter.
Yep.
So he did not see this in any kind of universal jurisdiction sense. And he's using it as an example. He's choosing the preeminent church, which we agree as Orthodox that Rome was preeminent because of
Yep.
Peter and Paul.
Yep.
However, if you read Vatican I and the attendant documents with Vatican I, like Satis Cognitum, they actually specify that the reason Rome is preeminent is not because of Peter and Paul. So they actually disagree with the reasoning even of Irenaeus. In the Vatican I line of argumentation, the only reason
because
Rome
of
is
Peter
preeminent is
alone.
literally because of Peter alone.
Yep.
But that line of argument falls apart when you consider that Rome is not just the only Petrine see. There's also Alexandria and there's also Antioch. So we need to know why Rome alone has the special charism and the other Petrine sees don't. And the answer from Roman Catholics is literally, well, he died there.
The Petrine sees are sees means diocese or jurisdiction. So there were five main jurisdictions, five main sees of Christianity in the first 1,000 years of Christianity. There was Rome, Jerusalem, Antioch, Alexandria, and Constantinople. Forgot my own freaking. So again, Rome, Jerusalem, Antioch, Alexandria, and Constantinople. Rome was preeminent, meaning it had leadership, meaning it had a primacy. It had primal honor. Why? Because of Peter and Paul, because it was double apostolic. It was started by Peter and Paul, as stated by St. Irenaeus. Now, the reason now that Catholicism states that Rome has primacy or a primal honor or even infallibility is because Peter died there. Well, if Peter died there, Rome would have a successor from Peter, right? But Peter also has successors in Antioch and Alexandria because those were Petrine sees. So how come only Rome gets infallibility?
Interesting. Okay, man. And then that, I guess, just kind of.
And by the way, let me add to, if you read the Chieti document and the Alexandria document, they no longer think that this is no longer, even by the Roman Catholics, a quote proof of Vatican I style supremacy, because Chieti document in paragraph 19 admits that Rome did not exercise universal authority.
Yeah. I actually was listening to one of your videos on that, and that was involving if like a bishop were to say something heretical, they went, if I'm understanding correctly, they would go to the Pope, but then he basically arranged like a synod of the other bishops.
It's not just the Pope. It's just that you could appeal to any metropolitan patriarchate type of see, right? You could appeal to Alexandria or Constantinople or to Rome. You would want Rome on your side because it was the first of the sees.
Yep.
But it wasn't just Rome. It's just that the canons of Sardica established an appellate structure for appealing to Rome. But you're correct that what Rome did was not decide the matter. They ordered a retrial in the neighboring diocese of your church.
Yeah, I was listening to that video. That was or one of your lectures talking about that.
Yeah. And all of this, the point of all of this is that this shows that it's not the Vatican I view. The Vatican I view is that it is a unilateral, autocratic jurisdiction that is immediate by virtue of Peter and Peter alone, that only Rome has, none of the other Petrine sees have, and it's nothing to do with the bishops or the College of Bishops in terms of what Rome does.
Gotcha.
And also, it's very interesting to note this. When Christianity started, it was one church, right? It was one church. Orthodoxy and Catholicism were one church in the first 1,000 years of Christianity, right? And then it split in 1054. We have the, like I mentioned, the five sees, right? Rome, Jerusalem, Antioch, Alexandria, and Constantinople. Rome went wayward, and the four other sees remained orthodox. So in our perspective, which one really left? Okay, so that's one. Two, when Orthodox and Catholics have discussions about the Pope, about the papacy, it's never about the authenticity of the lineage of the Bishop of Rome. Meaning, we're not disagreeing as Orthodox Christians, being like, Peter is the rock. Yes, we agree with that. Peter is the rock. So was his confession. So were the apostles, etc., etc. Now, do we disagree with Orthodox, or with Catholics rather, that the Bishop of Rome today, which is Pope Leo XIV, does his papacy, does his office trace its lineage back to Peter? No, we don't disagree with that. We know that. What is the disagreement? The disagreement lies with Vatican I's definition of the papacy. Because according to Roman Catholic dogma, the Pope is the Bishop of Rome alone can elect bishops, has authority to practice ex cathedral statements, which is not found in the first 1,000 years of Christianity, and all of these other things, all of these other innovations, the filioque being one of them, because Rome felt that it had primacy, that it can just supersede and circumvent all of the other apostles or all of the other sees, and all of the other sees were like, "What the hell are we talking about? You can't do that. You cannot just bypass the rest of the apostles or the rest of the sees." In fact, if the overwhelming majority of the council of the church agrees on one thing, and Rome just decides that it's not going to succumb to that, well, the council can just be like, okay, we can still hold it. That proof being the Second Ecumenical Council, or the second whole church-wide council of Christianity, which is Constantinople I, held in the 4th century. Constantinople I was held and closed outside of communion with Rome. Rome just retroactively signed off and being like, okay, well, actually, we accept this. So if Vatican I's definition of the papacy and Vatican I's definition of Roman Catholicism was always true and has always been true and will forever be true, then how come these things happened? How come a church-wide council was held and closed outside of communion with Rome? And how come the council itself can excommunicate a pope with Pope Boniface? Like, a council can declare a pope a heretic. A council. So the council is above the pope, not according to Vatican I's definition, though. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, if you're interested, The Roots of Christian Mysticism, it's a pretty good read.
Appreciate that. Also, we did an interview with Ubi some years back where Ubi went into great detail. I think it's this video here. We covered this here in AS Quote too.
Marquise.
Roman Catholic Papal Claims, Ubi Petrus, 5 years ago. And I think about an hour of this is actually, we covered that here in AS Quote.
Right, and that kind of...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to boot you. You can come back. Go ahead if you want to come back. We'll go to you after JC and then Melchite. JC?
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I thought I got cut off. I was just gonna add, like, kind of just spinning off that kind of just goes to show you can't just like quote mine one like early church father. It's more the collective understanding of
correct
like,
and
sacraments and ecumenical.
Oh, absolutely, exactly. I'm glad you see that.
Yes, it's not about quote mining. It's not individualized quote, because if it was individualized quote, then Saint Basil saying and quoting that Antioch is the head of the whole church, and what is the body without the head, referring to Antioch. Therefore, Antioch has infallibility. No, obviously we wouldn't accept that. 2, Saint Cyprian of Carthage himself quotes and says that all bishops are Peter. Of course, Rome had primacy, but all bishops are Peter. It's not about quote mining.
Also, another one of these classic quote. This is a great point to bring this up from one of these classic quote mines. Actually, Luigi had a good comment on this the other day. Let me see it. So a lot of times Roman Catholics will use this quote mine from Augustine. Rome is spoken, cases closed, this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
but if you read the full context, it's not saying that at all. In fact, Augustine literally rejects that line of argumentation. Where's it at? I know I saved it.
Gosh darn, bro.
Yeah, let me try it.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so that
my wife and I just became catechumens like about 2 months ago. So I appreciate all your stuff.
Let's pause and read it real quick. Proof: this is a completely made up quote and not all what he was communicating as a universal rule of faith. Well, let us suppose that those bishops who decided the case at Rome were not good judges. There still remained a plenary council of the universal church, in which these judges themselves might be put on their defense, so that if they were convicted of mistake, their decisions might be reversed. Basically saying, literally saying, that if Rome was wrong, we still have backups. So it's not a case closed decision because Rome is still subjected to the council.
Stuff, man.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you. Also, if you want a fuller book that deals with a lot of that, Edward Denny's book Papalism is a classic. But so Luigi points out that you can read Augustine letter 43, paragraph 19. Let us suppose that those bishops who decided the case at Rome were not good judges. There still remains a plenary council of the universal church, in which these judges themselves might be put on defense if they were convicted of mistake, and thus their decisions might be reversed. Boom. There's Augustine noting that a universal council is superior to the bishops of Rome.
Looks maxing, once obscure.
That's it for this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you want to learn more about Jesus Christ's true religion, which is Eastern Orthodoxy. My name is Aaron Cortez. I'll see you guys in the next video. And always remember, Jesus loves you.